women are celebrating International Women's Day. Women here in Bengaluru, they have voiced their one cause of concern. Karnataka stood number 3 as far as atrocities against women is concerned. In fact, 718 cases of under IPC section, that is outraging a modesty of women, were reported in 2015, and at least 5,000 cases, that is atrocities against women, were reported in 2015.
The number of molestation cases reported in the national capital is at least 5 cases reported every 2 hours and a rape case reported every 4 hours. These online offences of women have also increased in the past 1 year, with cyber crimes being reported as one of the major crimes against women after rape and molestation.
Chennai women are increasingly questioning the city's reputation of being safe for women and children. In the last weeks of February, a 3-year-old girl and a 7-year-old girl were brutally murdered and sexually assaulted. Rape, child abuse and stalking cases registered with the police as of 2015 are 2,617 cases.
To all the other cities in the country, the rate at which conviction is done in this city is appalling. Now, Magicbricks Now had to relentlessly follow up the Vile Parle murder case for 2 months. Every day we used to hammer the government, we used to ask answers, and that is when, after 2 months of the gruesome rape and the murder of the physiotherapist, was the police being able to lodge an FIR and being able to nab the culprit. Now, in the past few years, the safety of women in the city of Mumbai has only deteriorated. From 2011 till 2015, the number of rape cases being registered increased by 290%.
Cannot all the time tell that you don't complain, don't talk about it, because this is what the world has been telling us all these days. That women should not raise their voice against atrocities, women should not raise their voice against any kind of violence, and violence continues to happen, not just on the streets, but also in the homes and in the institutions. This is another International Women's Day that we are celebrating, but the slogan is that women themselves have to start raising their voice.
I'm requesting all women to come out of their shells, stop being scared, be proud to be a woman. You know, it's amazing to be a woman because we give birth to the men. So we are not, if we're not there, they're not there. So start standing up for yourself because no one else is going to do it otherwise.
Where do we stand today on International Women's Day 2017 as women in our country? To give you a recap of the kind of stories that we've brought to you on this channel over the last couple of days. 19 little baby girls found in a plastic bag outside of Sangli. The truth is, in this country, every 22 minutes, there is a case of rape reported. Every 2 minutes, there is a case of violent crime against a woman reported. In all of our states, Delhi is the worst by far in its rate of crime against women. Delhi has a rape case reported every 4 hours. The number of crime cases vis-a-vis the number of people is highest in Delhi. And somehow, none of our governments seem to be doing enough. They make a lot of promises during various elections. But what we've noticed is that when it actually comes to women's safety, it's not high up enough in the conversations that governments have. It's not important enough in the debates that people have on television. And it's not important to the people making these decisions. Let's take a look at some of the low-hanging fruit in our country. The Delhi police that is in charge of keeping the women of Delhi safe reports directly to the LG, which reports to the Home Ministry. Why then, if the Delhi police reports to the central government, is the state of Delhi so poor? Why can't the Home Ministry step in and send out a clear message? An even lower hanging fruit will be the case of Gurmeher Kaur. On the 28th of February, the Delhi Commission for Women filed a complaint about the severe rape and death threats that the Gurmeher Kaur was receiving, which obviously, according to the Indian Penal Code and the IT Act, are illegal. There were screenshots and evidence and everything else that the Delhi police could have possibly wanted was submitted to them on the 28th of March. On this show, we seated cybersecurity experts and very senior police officers who told us that case could have been and would have been closed in 2 hours if it wasn't for political interference. If the government of Delhi or the government of India wanted to actually send out a clear message saying BETI BACHAO is something that they're truly serious about, they could have, in the very least, have made sure that that case of Gurmeher Kaur saw some sort of end. Remember, it has been 8 days since that complaint was filed. Something that could have been done in 2 hours still has not been done. We're still using politics to dodge those questions. The mass molestation that took place in Bangalore, what end have we seen there? No arrests have been made by the police. In Chennai, in the last fortnight, 2 little baby girls have been murdered. Is there any sort of change there in the government in Tamil Nadu to show somehow more seriousness towards the safety of women and children? In Calcutta, little children are being sold into slavery for a profit. In Gujarat, members of political communities have been using women from destitute villages as sex slaves. In Maharashtra, we have the worst conviction rate when it comes to crime against women. Madhya Pradesh, Haryana and UP have the worst women to men sex and gender ratio. This is where we stand today. It's not about free lunches and shopping coupons. This day is not about that. This day is about acknowledging the fact that we have a serious problem in this country and forcing the people in charge of this country to do what needs to be done to fix that problem. And that's what we're focusing on today. Joining me on the show this evening, Brinda Adige, a social activist, Shama Mohammad, spokesperson of the Congress party, Shikha Rai, Vice President of the BJP, Mahila Morcha, joining us in Delhi, Aishwarya Bhati, advocate with the Supreme Court, Krishna Swamy is a gender activist from Bangalore, Preeti Menon, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Brinda Adige, I'm going to start with you, and you've been with us in this campaign for so long, and the truth is that while International Women's Day is celebrated for various reasons, it is nearly laughable in India, given the kind of numbers that we're dealing with. And let's not mince words, Tara, about the fact, Brinda, about the fact that the numbers are getting progressively worse with each passing year. We shouldn't, in any case, be looking at a system, be looking at a country where the crime rates against women are getting worse every year. Brinda.
Absolutely. And we are talking about the rate of crime that has progressively increased against women, and this is only those that are reported. Because very often we hear cases across India where women who want to make a complaint at the police station are not encouraged. There is also a very, very benevolent attitude that women can come and make their complaint. There is also a condescending attitude. What is not being acknowledged is that women victims must be treated as complainants, and this is not accepted. They would like to be kind, they would like to be nice to us, but why are you not treating this woman as a complainant? Let her make her complaint over there, and once the complaints are made, the system then goes back to sleep again. Because we are looking at a large number of cases where charge sheets are yet to be filed, and the so-called perpetrators who go absconding as per the reports of the police can be seen everywhere else except to be produced before the courts. So you are looking at not just the increasing numbers, we are also looking at a systemic failure. A failure to actually guarantee that security and safety and the legislations that are there to be enforced. Very often we keep seeing that you can come and register the case, but then what has happened? The perpetrator is absconding. There is also a lot of political interference, because of which police are unable to do the work that they are supposed to do, trained to do. And this is what we want to ask today. Why are you treating women as second-class citizens when our votes and our money and our taxes are first there for you?
In fact, Brinda, on that point, I want to bring in the political parties who join us today on the show. Preeti Menon, I'll start with you. I'm reading out of the Aam Aadmi Party election manifesto for Delhi when the Aam Aadmi Party was voted into power. And I'm not singling out any party. I'm going to do this with every one of them. This is what the manifesto said. The government will ensure all FIRs are registered as far as crime against women is concerned. We know that is not true. That has not happened. CCTVs to be installed in all FIR registration rooms, citizen security force in each ward to help people in distress, special fast-track courts in the cases of crime against women, temporary special courts in all pending cases. Very little, if any, of this has been achieved. Why not? And if there was no intention to carry out these promises, why were they made to begin with by the Aam Aadmi Party?
Faye, the promises were made on the precedents where the Delhi government, though it did not own the Delhi police, though it had reported to the LG, it was always free to legislate and to act on measures which they thought fit for the citizens of Delhi. There has been great obstructionism in Delhi, but I don't want to really dwell on that. The fact is that all governments have failed women in India. I don't feel any sense of pride in Women's Day at all. I feel just ashamed and embarrassed at the number of crimes that are increasing and the kinds of crimes that are increasing. So from actual crimes on the street, we've gone to crimes which are online, and the way we are being trolled online every day. I get rape threats, every day I get death threats, every day I'm accused of all kinds of horrible things. And this is rampant. And what I'd like to really discuss over here is the entire attitude of this country stems from our leaders. And our Prime Minister follows people who abuse women and who give them rape threats. This is the attitude of this country today towards women, where it is okay to stalk women, it is okay to abuse women, it is okay to give them rape threats.
Preeti Menon, we are aware of all of those things, but my question to you is, are you telling me, no, hang on. Preeti Menon, before we start to point fingers at each other, my question was about the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, you did say, of course, there's a great deal of obstructionism in Delhi, to a point where you've not been able to achieve anything at all, not even one bullet point on your list of promises, not one thing has the Aam Aadmi Party been able to achieve in Delhi?
So let me tell you what we've done. We've already started the process of putting marshals in all buses. We have put vehicle tracking systems in buses, and we are now trying to implement them in taxis and autos. So we are trying to ensure that all public transport is monitored. We have for the first time an empowered Delhi Commission of Women, and it is this Delhi Commission of Women that has ensured that a number of crimes are registered. Whenever there is a victim that is unable to register a crime with Delhi police, because the Delhi government doesn't have any rights, the Delhi Commission of Women is the first time you have seen a commission which is actually out there on the field day and night, working and registering crimes against women and trying to fight for their justice. So whereas in the previous dispensation, for the last God knows how many years, in 3 years one case was registered by the previous government commission, the Delhi Commission of Women, in this one we've crossed more than 2,000 cases that have been registered by them. So we are trying to work with whatever little paraphernalia that we have available. We are empowering. Today we have given an exceptional budget to the Delhi Commission of Women so that they can enhance their working strength and do work. We have in today's budget itself, the focus has been on women. It has been on providing security in Delhi. So we are doing as much as we can, but it is clearly not enough. With Delhi police not cooperating, with Delhi police categorically anti-woman, it's not possible to do anything in Delhi. Our only hope is that with the current LG, who seems to be more positively disposed towards women's safety, we might achieve something. Right,
let me get a few more voices in. Aishwarya Bhati is an advocate who functions out in Delhi. Aishwarya Bhati, is any of this true? That let's take the obstructionism for granted because the BJP representative hasn't joined us yet. But has the Delhi government achieved what it claims to have achieved?
Faye, no, I wouldn't be so optimistic about the achievements for any government. I mean, the way women's security still continues to be a concern and a huge concern, the alarming proportions, the facts that you read out, the figures that you gave of crimes against women. And you know, it's not just you and me talking. The United Nations Declaration talks about crimes against women as hate crimes. They stem from a mindset. And till the time the governance, the people who are in the position of authority, the law and order mechanism, the judiciary, they all work in tandem and ensure that these crimes are dealt with at the highest level. You know, one of your earlier programs when we were discussing about how the Nirbhaya fund continues to be completely unspent despite a formidable amount of money lying in that Nirbhaya fund. You know, I said that I would love to see a surgical strike done on women's safety issue, because if 100% of us cannot, we can't be 100% if 50% of us are withheld. This is what Malala said, and it's absolutely true. If 50% of the population cannot realize their full potential because of their safety concerns, because of the fact that they can't go out and be themselves and do the best that they can, it is a huge loss to each family, the society, the nation, and the humanity. And enough of lip service has been done by all governments successively. This has to be the highest priority for governance everywhere, right from the municipal level to the national level. And otherwise, there will be, in true sense, we can't be celebrating Women's Day. There is no point in any symbolism anymore, given the fact that, women have today broken all male bastions, and they are there making a mark in all areas which have hitherto been male bastions. But the fact is that you have to allow them the opportunity, the liberty, the right to realize their full potential and actually make a difference in the nation's life.
Aishwarya Bhati, if there's anything we do today, and I'm going to take the question over to Tara Krishna Swamy. If there's anything we do today, and those ridiculous messages that get sent back and forth saying Happy Women's Day, we need to today consider in our country, are female babies being culled and killed? Yes, they are. Are women being sold into slavery? Yes, they are. Are you comfortable if your daughter hasn't come home at 8 p.m. at night? No, you're not. Are you comfortable as a woman being alone with anybody in a lift going up 3 floors and coming down 3 floors? No, you're not. That is the country that we live in. And that, unless that is acknowledged by all the powers of our land, and unless they realize that this is a huge problem, we are not going to have a solution. Tara Krishna Swamy, let's focus on Bangalore. The fact that so many molestation cases, so much media came to Bangalore, everybody turned around, and I got messages saying, why are you singling out Bangalore? Why are you giving the entire city a bad name? As a resident and as someone who grew up in the city of Bangalore, I don't want to give the city a bad name, but let's call a spade, Tara. Has anyone been arrested in connection to the molestation that happened on Brigade Road on New Year's Eve?
There have been subsequent molestations where some arrests have been made, and but there have been many where no action has been taken. There have been molestations of children where the arrests have not been, the cases have not been registered under POSCO. There have been really egregious cases where women have gone to complain and FIRs haven't been filed, and they've had to go back. The point is, India-wide, we have 7% of female police personnel, only 7%. In Karnataka, it's even less than that. It is at 6%, okay? And of that, in Bangalore, more than 80% of the female police force are just constables. Another panelist was making a point that people in positions of authority have to lead by example. And the Prime Minister says we want not just women's development but women-led development, and his Home Ministry is more busy attacking students in colleges rather than worrying about women's safety in Delhi. They have not made anything in the budget that in the central budget that was recently announced to do towards police reform, towards judicial reform, law enforcement. I mean, ultimately it comes down to whether zero tolerance is a national policy or not. I think the single thing we need to fight for, the single thing is zero tolerance. Zero tolerance, whether it is, pledges and gender sensitization in terms of mindset change, or the other end of the spectrum, which is what are people in authority doing? The lady from AAP just spoke. Yes, in Delhi your hands are tied. But look at the history of the tickets that you have given to women, right? Political representation of women, women in positions of authority, not 50%. And that's true for the BJP or the Congress too. In Punjab recently in the elections, right, where all these three parties fought, it's not 50% that's of tickets given to women. It's not 40%, it's not 30%, it's not 20%. It's pathetic. So if women are not police people, if women are not judges in the judiciary, it's pathetic. 10% of women are in parliament or in legislatures. So if every position of authority, say 10% are central government employees, where is the question of driving change? So if there is zero tolerance, you've got to start from making sure that the smallest crimes are punished, broken window philosophy, to adequate representation of women, to the actual mindset change. If these three things don't happen in tandem, if we don't walk the talk on zero tolerance, nothing is going to change for women.
In fact, let me bring in Shama Mohammad, who represents the Congress party. Shama Mohammad, the Congress is in power in Karnataka. And we have seen enough mess-ups happen in Karnataka, in Bangalore, like Tara just listed out for us. And we've seen enough comments from that government that were derogatory to women, that blamed women for what happened on New Year's Eve. The Karnataka Home Minister himself has made statements. Previously we've had other ministers in Karnataka say all kinds of derogatory things about women. Where is the Congress party, where is your stand on equality for women? Where is your stand on safety for women?
I think this derogatory comment which you're talking about was just made by one Home Minister there, and you cannot put the whole cabinet.
The Home Minister is in charge of the police force. You can't say just one Home Minister. There is only one Home Minister in every state, and he's very, very important, Shama. Let's not brush it under the carpet.
No, I'm not. I was against the statement which was made. That most of our party, everybody came out saying that what he said was wrong. He came back and he apologized for what, and he said it was, it was not said in the right way. So I'm not supporting him in any way, and we've all said that what he said was wrong, definitely wrong. Now
how do you respond to this, that KJ George, who was the previous finance Home Minister, made a statement saying that if there's only 2 men raping, it's not gang rape, don't call it gang rape? Does that sound sensitive to you? Two consecutive Home Ministers?
No, this is horrendous. These are horrendous statements. But we should also not forget what Mr. Jaitley said, that, a small rape happened, which is destroying our tourism. No. So that is that. Wait a minute. I'm not don't
pass the buck. Don't pass the buck. Don't pass the buck.
What I'm trying to say,
do they come in small, medium, large face?
Is wrong. Can I speak, please? And I hope nobody interrupts, because I did not interrupt anybody. Now, what I'm saying is that what the Home Minister said was wrong. Nobody's defending him. You cannot say such things about women. Siddaramaiah did not say it. Of course, what the Home Minister said is wrong. But at the same time, there are many ministers in other, just like I pointed out to Mr. Jaitley, what he said. He's a senior minister. Then when the cabinet came in 2014, they inducted Nihal Chand. He was accused of rape. And they did not ask him to step down. He only left, he was changed after a year or year and a half. So these are not things we need to talk about. What we need to talk about right now is how do we solve this issue about women's safety? Now, after the Nirbhaya rape case happened, Justice Verma came out with a solution called one-stop crisis place, a place where there is legal help, medical help, they can file the cases. Women police are sitting there. It was a one-stop shop for all these victims of molestation, rape, acid attack. Now, this was something he proposed. And in 2014, when BJP came into power, the NDA came into power, they scrapped it. They said this is not required. Mrs. Maneka Gandhi wanted it to happen. It was supposed to be in every district. The budget allotted it was 200 crores. And for each one of them, it was 32 lakhs. But the PMO scrapped it. They said,
okay. All right, Shama Mohammad, I did not interrupt you, and you said, how are we going to solve these problems if we don't discuss? I'll tell you what, we are not going to solve the problems for as long as we pass the buck. You cannot turn around and tell me that the comment that KJ George made is okay or is better than the comment that anybody else from any other party made. They're all, and that's the problem. As long as we have leaders who are making comments like this from any party, and we are making excuses for those comments, and we are saying, yes, this comment was made, I disagree with it, but look at the other comment that was made by the other party. Why are women in politics making excuses for their colleagues and actually coming in and offering us defense? Brinda Adige, this is unacceptable.
I need to finish this. I said the statement was wrong. One should not say such a statement. I said it is wrong. I never defended KG George. Please do not quote something which I have not said. And what I'm trying to say is that we need to see the root cause of these problems, why female feticide happens. If there is something like this, the problem in our country is we do not have
all right, Shama Mohammad, why did the mass molestation happen in Bangalore and why wasn't anybody arrested? Since we are getting to the root cause of the problem.
Yes.
Tell me.
So I'm going to say about that is, of course, after that, the commissioner came on air. He said, I've got the CCTV footages, but he said nobody filed the FIR. If nobody's filing charges,
what should have taken suo motu cognizance of the case, which he could have.
He said the charges were not filed. He asked the women to come out. Now somebody has to identify these people who have done it. There was nobody ready to identify. That is what happened later on. Please go and check, Faye. The reason was why one did a... Who's against it? Molesters don't come from us, the Congress Party. We are against these molesters. But somebody has to file charges. We have to identify these people. We need witnesses to identify who's done. There's a court of law. We are not a banana republic. It has to go
Aishwarya Bhati, is that true that the police can't do anything unless somebody comes forward if they have CCTV cameras?
That's absolutely wrong.
Aishwarya.
The police can file charges.
No, I was just going to intervene and say that, you know, I was just going to intervene and say that the Indian Penal Code and our Criminal Procedure Code defines all offences which are penal offences as cognizable offences and non-cognizable offences. These are serious offences and all of them are qualified. All the offences against women are qualified. Apart from bigamy, all of these other offences are qualified as cognizable offences. Now, cognizable offences are such that nobody has to wait for a complainant to come and give a complaint. It is only information, and that can come from anybody, from a video, from a media report, from anybody, and the police is it's not like they have to do it. It is their duty to do it. They can't turn a blind eye to it, because that is an information of a crime which is a cognizable crime defined under the CRPC as a cognizable crime. And you know, I will go a step further, Faye. All these people in public authorities who are supposed to be our leaders, when they make these kind of irresponsible statements, you know, a home minister or anybody of any state, the problem is that sets the agenda. That sets the agenda for our law enforcement agencies, for our investigation agencies. Then they are not serious about women's safety issues. Till the time we don't treat women's safety as the highest priority, something that is on the topmost list for everyone, the entire governance to do, we are just continuing to give only lip service, and that is completely unacceptable. Why is it that on VIP duties, the police, the cops, the investigative agencies, they don't have to be sensitized? Why is it that only on gender crimes and women's safety issues, you need the law enforcement agency to be sensitized? Why is sensitization required?
In fact, let me ask this question of Brinda Adige. Right, Aishwarya.
All men have women in their houses. So why should they be sensitized?
In fact, Brinda Adige, in the Karnataka state government, how many ministers are women, Brinda?
Right now, I cannot think of more than 2 of them. But then we are also looking at the kind of offices that is given to women ministers. The women are the ones who will be holding women in child development, or some very small, not so important. When we know that women and child is an important aspect, and that importance is not given by the Chief Minister's office to this particular department. We also know that for a very long time, the Women's Commission did not have a chairperson. There is no monitoring, there is no review, there is no feedback that is got as to what these commissions are doing. We also have a very, very strange thing of all of these cases, everything related to women, the funding, the budget that is allocated to women and children is absolutely dismal. So when we are looking at authority, we are looking at elected representatives, the first question that comes is, does the highest authority give the same importance? We are talking of over 67% of the population being children, women and transgenders, and there is no importance given to them. Time and again, people want to have knee-jerk reactions and lip service because the media is pursuing and asking them questions. But what happens after that? You asked a question about the molestations, all the cases that are being registered. How long does it take to register a case? We have the Citizens Charter that says a case has to be registered within 24 hours and a FIR copy being given to the complainant. How many times have these complainants gone time and again to the police station requesting that a complaint be lodged? After the complaint is lodged, the lady also said from the Congress about one-stop crisis centers. How are these crisis centers functioning, and what is this budget that has been dispensed of as of date?
But it has been stopped.
These are all questions.
We proposed it. It has been taken off by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Hang on. We're still talking about Karnataka, Shama Mohammad, and in Karnataka, the Congress party is still in power.
So let me come in about that. Let me come in. We have just that molestation case. What she was saying, police has the right to take cognizance. But if the victim who had undergone that is not coming forward, how do they file charges? Because there are no witnesses to what happened. You have to understand there's a law. They were not coming forward. That is what happened. Should we protect anybody who is being molested? Who against those who have been molested? We need to protect women in all forms, whether it's Karnataka, whether it is Delhi. In Delhi, look at the number of cases, what's happening in Delhi.
Let's talk about Kerala. Don't change the subject. Shama Mohammad, don't change the subject. I'm going to get to Delhi. The representative of the BJP joins us now. Aam Aadmi Party is here. We'll talk about Delhi when we're talking to the two of them. But I want to talk to you about Bangalore and Karnataka and what's happening there. And I want to talk to you about Kerala and what's happening there. These are states run by the Congress party. Tara Krishna Swamy. And I'm going to be very careful here on this show not to get sucked into the politics because we have very specific problems. Shama Mohammad, here are the problems. The problems are there aren't enough women representatives as ministers in the Karnataka state government. The second problem, that the allocations being made by the Karnataka state government, the Congress government, to various issues of women and child safety and development are abysmal. The fact that these crisis centers and these committees are not functioning. Now, these are actual stated facts. I don't want to distract with what's happening to Delhi and with Mumbai. We will get to all of that. I want to address these facts. Why isn't the government in Karnataka doing better? Why isn't it doing more? Shama Mohammad.
In Karnataka, they are doing okay with many other issues have been taken up by the Karnataka government. And we have to see, this is not a Karnataka issue. This is not, each state issue. This is a whole issue of India.
No.
We need to understand what we need to understand.
No. Shama Mohammad, you're dodging again. The police is a state subject. Law and order is a state subject. The police is a state subject.
There are many cases happening all over India.
So address the one that you can control, which is in Karnataka, which is in Kerala.
Is in Delhi. The second is in Bhopal. The third is in Jodhpur. So why are we not addressing? Of course, we are addressing the issues in Karnataka, but these are the
problem is here. Tara Krishna Swamy, you talked about the fact that there aren't enough women politicians. Women politicians are unfortunately sent in to do mop-up jobs when their male colleagues do a bad job, making excuses for a bad job. Shama Mohammad, accept the fact that Karnataka government is doing a bad job right now and there are things that need to be done to fix the situation.
I'm sorry to say that I don't know where you got this information. Karnataka government is not doing a bad job.
Tara Krishna Swamy, go ahead.
So there are 3 or 4 aspects to this. One is the percentage of female politicians that are there in government in Karnataka and elsewhere. Okay, somebody else talked about that as well. The second is the offenders who are making these statements, existing ministers and male politicians, are repeatedly given tickets and very high positions. These are the people that are running law enforcement. So not only does it set the wrong agenda for law enforcement, it also says you can get away with this. If the person who leads himself, right, if the person himself who is leading this is getting away with misogynistic statements and actions, then what does it say to the rest of the men who are potential criminals? Right? And the third thing is that we just don't have enough money being spent on this. We have 6% police force. That is not being increased. We have the Karnataka state budget coming out on the 15th, on Monday. Let us wait and watch to see if they put their money where their mouth is, right? Let us see if they are going to increase the allocations towards police, towards law enforcement. The third thing is fear. Fear comes from making an example out of these cases. Make sure the high-profile cases are caught. Yesterday in Karnataka, there was a case of a serial rapist who went into the PG accommodation of the woman and molested her. He's a serial rapist. He's out on the street. This is the reporting. Serial rapist molest a woman, young woman, in her PG accommodation. The serial rapists are roaming free. There is no tracking. There is supposed to be a database, and then there is not enough police force to handle this. Law enforcement is very slow. So can we make an example of some cases in order to instill fear of law on the one hand? Second, have fast-track courts so that more cases can be handled quickly, right? Why? These are all state subjects. Why isn't the state doing enough about this? Why are women not treated as people?
Okay.
Why are women just
absolutely?
Vote banks?
Let's not dodge the fact that several of our states are doing a terrible job, and now we have, thankfully, we've been waiting for a while, but we have Shikha Rai, Vice President of the BJP Mahila Morcha, joining us in Delhi. Ms. Rai, thank you for joining us. But we were talking about the statistics of crime against women on a day like today, and it turns out that Delhi has the worst statistics right now of crime against women. We understand that every 4 hours there is a complaint registered of rape in the city of Delhi. That every 12 minutes the helplines get a crisis phone call from a woman in distress. These are the kind of statistics we're talking about in Delhi. In Delhi, the crime against women vis-a-vis the number of people per 1 lakh people is the highest than any other state in the country. Delhi is in a terrible state of crisis. Shikha Rai, why is it so? What is the government doing wrong in Delhi?
Well, as far as the government is concerned, in Delhi, as we all know, the government is not providing any kind of security, rather any assurance of security to the women of Delhi, The Delhi government,
talking about Shikha, are you talking about the Delhi state government or the central government that runs the police force?
Yes, as you asked for the government, as you asked for, the government is not doing anything, in this matter. They are not concerned about the women's safety and security. As you said that the cases reported in the police stations is much higher than as compared to any other state. You've given me the numbers and all. One complaint always remains with the women that the FIRs or the complaints are not registered at all. But here in Delhi, at least the police is taking this much into consideration, that they are making this much an effort at least that the report is considered, FIR is registered.
Shikha Rai, help me understand. When you say that that the crime against women has gone up in Delhi, but at least the police are registering FIRs, technically prevention of crime is also the responsibility of the police, not just registering FIRs. And secondly, doesn't the police in Delhi report to the Home Ministry of the central government and not to the state government? So then whose responsibility is it to bring down the crime numbers against women in Delhi?
As far as Delhi police is concerned, of which I know, recently the national government has taken up this scheme to give 33% women in the police force, and for that matter, Delhi police has already gone into this and has appointed many police officers, women police officers in many police stations. That's why it's the reason that many women are now taking at least courage to go to the police stations and get their reports filed or
I'm sorry, but Shikha Rai, that's not good enough.
That's a wrong information.
No, that's not good enough, but that is one step. There are many steps. That is one step that the police has taken. There are many other steps.
In the last 3 years, since this central government came into power, what has been done to bring down the crime rates against women?
Yes, this is...
One step
is this. See, I do not say that everything has been done. Many more things need to be done, but whatever has been done should be appreciated. That's what I'm trying to say. I do not say that there is a complete security for women in Delhi, but yes, many things have been done on the part of the police. That is one that in the police now the women force is given importance. 33% reservation in women police. Now women are there. That gives.
Is that true? Aishwarya Bhati, is that true?
Yes, it is true. It is because I know the appointments have been made. One. Secondly, the police has taken into consideration. Police has taken into consideration all those areas where the crime rate was increasing because the area was not well lit, or maybe there was other things that were happening in that area. They have tried to now ask the government to please get the areas well lit so that the crime does not take. I'm giving you the basic facts which have been taken care by
how many police officers and constables, female police officers and constables have been recruited so far? Do you have the numbers split?
I don't know the exact number which has taken
How
place
many
in this year,
crisis centers have been opened in Delhi since the central government took over? And how many crisis centers in the central government-run hospitals are functioning in Delhi right now?
See, the national government, as you say, Union Government of India has selected 100 cities all over the country wherein these one-step centers have been established.
How many one-step centers, madam, have been established?
I tell you the budget that is 68 crores have been given for these. Another thing that is
Let me tell you that.
Why didn't the Nirbhaya Fund receive an allocation from the central government in the union budget this year?
It's simple to say that nothing has been established. I may tell you another step that is taken by the government. That is to integrate all the helplines. 68 crores have been spent on that to integrate all the helpline schemes. There are a number of start working 1091181. The system, the government has taken this step forward to integrate all these helpline numbers so that there is, for emergency and even non-emergency cases, a single helpline number.
Let me enlighten our viewers with some statistics that's on our screen right now. Shikha Rai. The BJP government made these promises. The current central government that was voted into power in 2014, we are now in 2017, made these promises during its manifesto. And this is where we stand right now. 33% reservation in parliament and state assemblies for women. What is the status of that? We are yet to take a step. No considerable step has been taken. The promise for BETI BACHAO, BETI PADHAO campaign, current status, under process. The promise for Balika Samruti, Ladli Lakshmi, Chiranjeevi, let me finish, Yojana schemes currently unfulfilled. The promises of dedicated women ITIs, current status, under progress. The promise for all women mobile banks, current status, no new development. The promise for dedicated women SME clusters in all districts, current status unfulfilled, and not all of them about women's safety. Let's consider the fact that the central government and the Home Ministry under the leadership of Mr. Rajnath Singh has been in charge of the Delhi police now for 3 years. More than half the term.
As far as BETI BACHAO, this movement is concerned, scheme is concerned, I may let you know that 100 crores have been given, allocated for this BETI BACHAO scheme. This
where
is
are the results? Paise to koi bhi de sakta hai, madam. Where are the results? Where are the results?
1,000 crore in Nirbhaya Fund.
What the government is doing for the state governments then to implement these schemes. The union government, the national government is to give the schemes and then the budget. 100 crore have been spent on this BETI BACHAO scheme, and what is it? The safety of the girl child.
So Shikha Rai, let me point out to you two things. I'm not singling out any government. I had a tough conversation with the representative of the Aam Aadmi Party and then the representative of the Congress Party. You have now joined us on this conversation. Let's look at low-hanging fruit, Shikha Rai. If you're telling us that 100 crore rupees have been allocated for the BETI BACHAO and it is state governments who should utilize it, question number one, there are several state governments run by the BJP party. What have they done? Take an example of Maharashtra, where just 2 days ago, 19 little babies were found in a plastic bag because those betis were not bachaoed. Now, second question. If you want to accept that the central government has no control over what state governments are doing, granted, let's take that for granted as well. Delhi is under the control of the central government. Delhi still has, on last count, the worst statistics in the country. There is no buck to pass here. The buck is yours. Now give me justification for why in 3 years of this government, why Mr. Rajnath Singh has not achieved more.
See, what has not happened in the last 65 years, you want this government to do it in 3 years?
Yes, I want you to do it in 3 years, which is why we voted for you. We want you to do it in 3 years. You promised to do it in 3 years. You promised to change everything. Change it. Show us action.
And you have been voting the other governments for the continuous 6 years.
So you're still punishing us. So you're still punishing us for the past. That's what you're telling us.
How backlog, what backlog is there? What has happened to this country? Now in 3 years, don't expect anything magic. But yes, whatever has been done, appreciate that. Whatever has been done, please do appreciate that also. Who started BETI BACHAO, BETI PADHAO? Who started this scheme? BETI BACHAO, BETI PADHAO. Who started the Ujjwala Yojana?
But what is the results? What are the results? You know, I have one question before I open it to the independent voices on this panel. Shikha Rai, We know for a fact that the Nirbhaya fund, which was allocated, had 3,000 crore rupees, and out of which less than 400 crore rupees have actually been spent. Secondly, the Nirbhaya fund found absolutely no mention in the union budget 2017. The finance minister has not even made a fresh allocation. That shows us how low priority the Nirbhaya fund is for this government. Now let's talk about the union minister, Mrs. Manekha Gandhi, for child and women's safety, who turned around 2 days ago and said that women should be locked up in their hostels at 7 o'clock because their hormones make them crazy and they need to be kept safe. Now, is this the kind of treatment that this government gives out? And we're not even talking about what is being said by the male members of your party. We're talking about the people who are female members, who are in charge of women's rights, who are saying things like this. Where is the justification for the Nirbhaya fund? Where is the justification for the statements being made by the minister?
See, if Nirbhaya fund was not being used by the states, maybe it was being wasted. That's why maybe it is not allocated this time. But there are many more other schemes in which
that's not how it's allocated.
That's
wrong.
No, absolutely not true.
That's completely wrong.
What's wrong?
Tara Krishnamurthy. Tara Krishna Swamy, go ahead. Tara, go ahead.
First of all,
that is absolutely there has been a demand made for the fund and it has not been granted.
Tara, go ahead.
It was
everything demands have to be made of the fund. Over here, the Nirbhaya fund has not been granted to the states that
one at a time, ladies, one at a time.
The police of Delhi has not been empowered with any kind of financial assistance.
Preeti, I'll come back to you. I just want to get Tara in because this is the information. I'll come back to you.
The police has said in Delhi High Court that they do not have money to put CCTV footage in their police stations.
Tara, go ahead. The Nirbhaya fund.
Delhi police has said the central government is not giving them money to even put CCTV cameras in Delhi police stations, and the Delhi government has offered to foot that bill, but the central government has not allowed us to. The central government is neither spending on women's safety and nor is it allowing anybody else to spend. So all the things made over here that the central government is working and allocating funds is not true. Nirbhaya fund is not being disbursed. The police is not being empowered in any way to provide women's safety, to get more force on the road or to provide more women. This is not true. The problem that we have over here is what we're not facing.
To the three representatives of the three political parties, I will ask you please to speak one at a time.
Women, and there is no recall, there is no sacking of such people.
Okay, Preeti, I will come back to you. I've noted the points that you're making. I want Tara to just talk about the Nirbhaya fund and the justification given to us by the BJP representative. Tara, go ahead.
Yeah, so the central government representative we have on the show needs to get her facts right. She needs to educate herself. This is not how the Nirbhaya fund works. Demands have to be made. There is nothing that is default allocated to any state. That is number one. Number two, to say the central government has no responsibility and it's up to the states basically says that there is nothing at all we are going to do for women, then don't put it in your manifesto. Don't take our votes, period. Third, all you have is Delhi. When you want to go after colleges, instead of going after women's safety and ensuring that women are safe, the one city you have in your control you cannot showcase, then admit that you cannot do proper law and order for women, right? Number five, yes, you don't have control over the FIRs that come in, and sometimes it's a good thing if crime reporting goes up because that means women are emboldened to report crimes against them. But what you can reduce in 3 years, and again the central government representative is completely wrong on this, what the BJP government which is running, the home ministry that is running the Delhi police force can do is look at the percentage of convictions. Why is it none of the political party representatives on the show today have come in with data? Tell me one state that is run by your political party where convictions have gone up. Percentage of convictions have gone up. You cannot control the crime that happens, okay, entirely. You cannot control the FIRs that come in, okay. Reporting has gone up, that is a good thing. What about conviction? What about cases solved? How many cases have the police force under your control solved? Come back with that. Right? In fact, I challenge the political representatives sitting in the panel today. Are you willing to be women first and say none of the parties are doing enough for women? Why is it you feel so defensive? That's a simple enough statement to make.
Any member of a political party who wants to respond to that, go ahead. Have you noticed what...
I want to say one thing is this conviction thing is
Why aren't you coming in with data, first of all?
No, the conviction thing is, it doesn't happen in India. We have a lot of laws, but convictions are very poor. And I agree with this panelist saying that convictions are there. That is the core issue here in India, is that because nobody gets convicted, we don't have dowry deaths as non-bailable offence. We don't have, grievous harm or acid attack as a non-bailable offence. Unless and until we have these things, and unless and until we
Shama Mohammad, do you know how many rape cases were reported in the states of Karnataka and Kerala over the last couple of years, and how many of those wound up in convictions?
No. That is what I'm trying to say. Is
Karnataka has the lowest conviction rate.
We need to change the judicial system. What happens is the police they do their investigation. It goes into a court of law. We have a lot of under trials. The cases are not finishing. We have a problem right now with the collegium. We don't have enough judges and the party at the center. The judges are not being appointed. You know that there has been a problem out there. We need to have more judges. We hardly have judges. Cases are getting stuck. It's not just the police problem. Police is one problem. But what about all the cases which are taking 10 years?
Brinda Adige, here's the problem. I found the problem, Brinda Adige. We finally found the problem. The problem is that the people who run the central government believe that all the responsibility and the fault lies with the state governments. The people who run the state governments believe that all the responsibility lies with the central governments, and they are all doing their right jobs. And the people who should be fighting for us, who are women representatives on the inside of all of these parties, spend all of their time justifying the bad job being done by their male colleagues. Brinda Adige, go ahead.
You're saying it wrong, Faye.
Yes. Time and again, madam, we have come on this show and we always have political representatives who keep blaming the other person. Why would you not accept that you have a mandate today, you have authority, you have power, and things can be changed? And we have seen that these things have changed. When you wanted the demonetization to happen, it happened overnight.
Yes,
if you're talking of judges not being there, why are we not talking of putting down a circular, a memo, a report, a referendum? I don't know. You are the powerful person. We've elected you into power and say that we need this many judges and we need them appointed in the next 1 week. What stops you? You know that the number of cases sitting in all our courts, it is going to take over 500 years for these cases to be sorted out. And if you are talking of women's cases, you know that nearly 80% of them just die a slow natural death because this woman is no longer there to even give you a deposition or come and give her testimony. If we are talking of women to be half the citizens of this nation, and you are our representative over there, we at least expect you to take a stand for women of this nation rather than making an excuse or even comparing yourself to somebody else and saying, but we made a statement that is...
Right. You know, Brinda, I want to very quickly ask this question of the representative of the Aam Aadmi Party here. The Aam Aadmi Party in its manifesto, one second, madam, in its manifesto said it will create special fast-track courts for the cases of crime against women, temporary special courts for all pending cases. Did you not know that you won't have these powers when you wrote this manifesto, Preeti, or was the Aam Aadmi Party just pulling wool over the people's ears and lying to them and making promises that they had no intention to keep?
The LG would not allow acts which were passed in the Assembly of Delhi to be passed. Can I please respond?
So now, since you yourself said that you have a different LG to work with and this one is far more admirable, why haven't you done this since the LG has been changed? What work has been done since you got a different LG to work with?
It's been only a few weeks. Can I please reply, Faye? Faye, every time you ask me to speak, you speak yourself. You don't allow me to speak. So you need to make up your mind whether I'm allowed to speak on the show or not. My point is very simple. That the first thing is whether the Delhi government knew what they were going to do. Yes, we had a plan of what we were going to do based on precedents, what has happened in Delhi, but the legislators were allowed to make laws and carry them out. We have faced obstruction, but I don't want to dwell on the obstruction. What I want to dwell upon is that if in political parties, the men keep making horrible statements against women, if in political parties, rapists are made cabinet ministers, rape accused are given positions in the party, then how is the system going to change? Why do we all
I've run out of time. I've run out of time in this blame game that we're playing, and quite frankly, I've also run out of patience. I have to wrap up this discussion. I'm going to put on your screen demands that we have made of political parties and we continue to make, and we'll continue to make until we see some sort of change. We want a public offenders list database to be made public, especially of those people who molest, children in schools. We need to know who these people are, what they look like, to make sure we don't allow them into our homes. One-stop centers for victims. Let me point out that only 20 out of the 660 one-stop centers have actually been opened by the central government. Ban on bail of those accused of heinous crimes against women, so they are not let out onto the street. Ban on open sale and purchase of acid, because it's sold right now like phenyl and it can be used to completely ruin a woman's life in revenge. Invest in safe, efficient and accessible public transport. And of course, and finally, make sex education mandatory in schools. I just want to add one more thing to anybody who's watching tonight, who's feeling the same sense of frustration that I'm feeling. I'm going to start a campaign on this channel, asking each of you, this is what you can do, each of you, whether you run an office, an establishment, a shop, a society, a home, if you have a standalone home in any of our cities, if you can buy one CCTV camera and point it to the street outside your house and record and keep it running, you will be able to provide the women who use that street, including your own family, some sort of safety. If each of us can do it in each of our neighborhoods, if we can put CCTV cameras, every one of us pointing at the street, we will be able to make our neighborhoods safer. It is as simple as that. A CCTV camera costs about 25,000 rupees. For a large housing society, that is not a lot of money to invest. If we can just leave the governments now, because they're obviously not interested in doing their job. All they care about is in pulling each other down and preventing each other from doing their jobs. And we're not going to get anywhere if we wait for them. I'm going to put this out as a campaign, and I want to know if you can help. My email ID is going to be on your screen, so is my Twitter handle in a little while. If you can help in any way to install one CCTV camera or maybe two, let's try and make our cities and our neighborhoods safer. I welcome any sort of commitment that you can give us, because really enough is enough and I can't wait any longer. I need your help. Thanks for watching.